Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu says threat to shut down economy over fuel price increase premature. National Assembly management says enjoy allowance to senators part of office running cost. Plus, Afghanistan's Taliban government marks 2 years since return to power. Details of these stories and more in a moment. First in the news tonight, President Bola Tinubu today told the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC that the threat to shut down the economy if the pump price of the premium motor spirit PMS, otherwise known as petrol, is increased is premature. The president also assured that there is no plan to increase pump price of fuel. Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima has commended Google's 1.2 billion naira grant initiative for the President Tinubu administration's 1 million jobs initiative. Shettima made the commendation when he received in the audience some executives of Google, the leading global technology company, at the presidential villa today in Abuja. According to him, the announcement of a grant of 1.2 billion naira to support the Tinubu administration's digital jobs initiative is commendable and worthy of emulation by other companies. Speaking about the potentials of Nigeria's young population, the Vice President said Nigeria has a unique opportunity to harness the potentials of its huge youth population to create millions of jobs in the digital sector. Earlier, the director of Google West Africa, Olumide Balogun, said the company was excited about the Tinubu administration's vision of creating 1 million digital jobs. And away from that now, apparently reacting to the carnage that has happened in that axis in the last few years, the Federal Road Maintenance Agency FEMA has embarked on maintenance work to reinstate the failed sections of the Benin-Shagamu Expressway. The Federal Road Maintenance Engineer in Edo State, Mukhtar Abdul Rahim, said the agency has successfully addressed the issue of punching failure on the edge of the bridge at Isoko Camp, a notorious spot known for causing traffic congestion. Based on the approval by the acting managing director, water pond has rendered a section impassable for motorists. Recall that the Edo State House of Assembly had summoned FEMA officials to address the deteriorating conditions of the road, which not only resulted in traffic congestion, but also auto accidents. Regarding other bad sections of federal roads in Edo, Abdul Rahim stated that the agency has prioritized repairs based on the severity of the issues. Meanwhile, the federal government has applied to withdraw the illegal possession of firearms case it filed against the suspended Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele at the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos. The Director of Public Prosecutions DPP at the Federal Ministry of Justice, Mohammed Abubakar, in an oral application told Justice Nicholas Owebo that the application followed the result of further investigations. However, counsel for Emefiele, Senior Advocate of Nigeria Joseph Dodu, opposed the application, insisting that the government must first purge itself of the disobedience of a court's order granting Emefiele bail before its application could be taken. And while Justice Owebo has adjourned till Thursday, August 17 to rule on the application. In the meantime, now the federal government has promised to provide health coverage for over 50 million Nigerians, especially the vulnerable and elderly, by 2027. The special advisor to the President on Health, Salma Anas Ibrahim, made this known in Abuja at the National Healthy Aging Summit with the theme Decade of Healthy Aging in Nigeria: Situation, Challenges and Transformative Pathway. According to Anas Ibrahim, no one will be left behind in the federal government's universal health coverage. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization country representative Dr. Walter Mulombo said the desired goal of leaving no one behind was achievable with the determination of all critical stakeholders. To legislative matters now, where the management of the National Assembly today reacted to the controversial enjoyment allowance paid to senators and members of the House of Representatives before they embarked on a long recess last week, Monday. In a statement made available to journalists today, the Secretary of Research and Information, Ali Umoru, said the set payment to the lawmakers in the upper and lower legislative chambers was mischaracterized, describing such as unfortunate, given that the money is part of their statutory running cost of offices. Now, from the Green Chamber, the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Students' Loan Fund and Access to Higher Education has said it is working to propose an increase of 3% as against an initial 1% for students' loan from revenue generated annually, as recently announced by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The chairman of the Ad Hoc Committee, Tesir Ubo, made the revelation during a public hearing to ascertain the level of progress made so far by the Presidential Committee put together to remove all legal encumbrances hindering access to the loan by Nigerian students, according to the chairman, while addressing the Federal Ministry of Education and the Implementation Committee, that lawmakers are ready to provide genuine intervention for the speedy takeoff of the scheme. Ubo expressed displeasure with the slow implementation of the students' loan program, which would have also cushioned the effects of fuel subsidy removal, and asked the implementers to ensure there was fairness in distribution. Meanwhile, Speaker of the House of Representatives Abbas Tajuddin has explained why it has become a difficult task to nib corruption in the bud in Nigeria. The Speaker made this known while speaking at an event held by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission on Policy Dialogue on Corruption, Social Norms and Behavioral Change in Abuja today. According to the lawmaker, the high level of corruption within the corridors of power has greatly slowed down the country's ability to reach its full potential. He noted that it is because certain factors such as behaviors, norms, attitudes, expectations, weak governance structures, lack of transparency have perpetually contributed immensely to the subsistence of corruption in Nigeria. Away from that, now the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has said it is set to take new measures to stabilize the naira against the dollar. Acting Governor of the CBN, Folashodun Sonubi, made the disclosure to State House correspondents after briefing President Bola Tinubu on what the bank was doing to halt the slide on Monday at the State House. He said President Tinubu expressed his concern about the impact of recent developments in the foreign exchange market, particularly on ordinary citizens. Sonubi said he assured the president that the CBN is actively working to improve liquidity and stability in the market, including addressing issues in the parallel market. In petroleum matters, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) has spoken up as regards the widespread concern of a possible hike in the pump price of premium motor spirit (PMS), popularly called petrol. In a post by the company on its official X handle, the national oil firm and major importer of petrol into Nigeria said it had no intention to increase the pump price of petrol. Recall that oil marketers had on Sunday indicated that the cost of petrol would rise to between 680 naira per litre and 720 naira per litre in the coming weeks should the dollar continue to trade from 910 naira to 950 naira at the parallel market. In another development, Man Alakai, a commissioner representing Nasarawa State in the Federal Character Commission FCC, today denied receiving money to secure employment for job seekers. Alakai, who appeared before the House of Representatives ad hoc committee probing job racketeering in federal government agencies in Abuja, denied collecting money to secure jobs for anyone in any ministry, department or agency MDA. Recall that Musa Ibrahim, one of the victims of job racketeering while appearing before the committee on August 14, claimed he, alongside 9 others, paid millions into Abdullahi Ibrahim's account. Now in politics, Minister-designate Nyesom Wike today met with the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, Abdullahi Ganduje. Wike met with Ganduje at his residence in Abuja. This was disclosed on Twitter by Wike's close associate. It will be recalled that a few weeks ago, President Bola Tinubu nominated Wike as one of his ministers. 2 weeks ago, Wike was screened and cleared by the Senate for the ministerial position. Wike, a former governor of Rivers State, is a member of the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP. Meanwhile, Katsina State Governor Diko Raja has warned the Nigerian Bar Association NBA to call its members who are in a habit of supporting bandits, rapists, armed robbers and other criminal elements into order. He claimed that most of the NBA members hide under the instrument of fundamental human rights to secure the release of suspects. According to Rada, there are several instances where suspected bandits, rapists, terrorists and armed robbers were released on bail, only for them to commit the same offences. Such incidents, he explained, could have been averted if bail was not granted to the suspects. The governor gave the warning today at the Katsina Government House Council chamber shortly after he swore in 4 new High Court judges as part of measures to strengthen the legal system and justice delivery speed in the state. They are Nuruddin Abdul Mumini, Halima Lawal Bagiwa, Abdullahi Ibrao and Maruf Amiru Sanusi. On security matters now, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tawari Lagwaja, is on his way to the Wushishi local government area of Niger, where bandits ambushed and killed troops. The Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachuku, made this known in an interview with newsmen. Nwachuku confirmed there were casualties on the troops from the attack. He added that the Army Chief was there to ascertain the situation. In another development, the Ogun Area 1 Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted 1,245 live ammunition allegedly concealed in 203 bags of foreign rice abandoned in a bush path at Tombolo Junction near Yewa North Local Government Area of Ogun State. The revelation was made by the Customs Area 1 Controller Bamidele Makinde, who said the ammunition was with a 17,637 naira duty-paid value. The area controller added that an investigation was ongoing to unravel the cartel responsible for the attempted smuggling, calling on residents to furnish the command with useful information.
About 1,245 rounds of 70mm 2¾ ammunition of Lion Trust, Supreme and Red Star branded cartridges were found to have been ingeniously concealed in 20 bags of the intercepted foreign rice. While considering the potential danger of the ammunition of such magnitude, if successfully smuggled in, we redoubled our efforts to ensure they do not find their way into the country. It is a threat to the safety of the border communities and national security. The duty-paid value of the seized ammunition and rice is 17,638,145,000. Our acting Comptroller General promised us, apart from the matching order, I thought he gave us a week.
Yes, sir.
He mandated us that he's given us just 1 week to make sure that we have something on ground. We are committed to ensuring maximum security of our borderlines with all sense of patriotism.
Still to come in the news. WTI crude oil falls below $81. Just out this.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTimes DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Every society is premised on the quality of relationships forged by its inhabitants. The health of these relationships determines how well people, relationships, organizations thrive and how long they stick together. Join Uyai Anyekan on Connect every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. and on Sunday 2:30 to 3 p.m. on Channel 421 on StarTimes to catch all the conversations, interviews, real stories and how to navigate relationships and family life in the 21st century. Real people, real faces, real stories. Connect live on Spectrum Television.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but you can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people. But there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTime's DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Many thanks for staying tuned. Now to Africa, where coup leaders have recalled their country's ambassador in Ivory Coast, saying comments by the Ivorian president had amounted to praising armed action against them. Alassane Ouattara had spoken of his determination to see Niger's democratically elected leader Mohamed Bazoum reinstated on his return from a regional summit last week. He had also said a military operation to restore democracy in Niger should start as soon as possible. He said Ivory Coast would contribute between 850 and 1,100 troops alongside Nigeria and Benin. It will be recalled that the West African Regional Bloc, ECOWAS, has reaffirmed its preference for a diplomatic resolution, but says military intervention remains on the table. The bloc said it was shocked that the coup leaders had decided to pursue prosecution against Bazoum for high treason. In a related development, military and political stakeholders in Ghana have said that the military chiefs from the West African Bloc, ECOWAS, will meet in the country this week to discuss possible intervention in Niger. The meeting was originally scheduled for last weekend but was postponed to Thursday and Friday. This came after ECOWAS leaders last week approved deployment of a standby force to restore constitutional order in Niger, whose president was toppled on July 26. Meanwhile, the United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken has underscored the importance of pressure in ensuring that the Niger junta releases President Mohamed Bazoum, who has been held in his residence since he was ousted by the military on July 26. He commended the leadership of the chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, President Bola Tinubu, for the decisions taken to reinstate the toppled Nigerian leader. Blinken's spokesperson Matthew Miller made this known in a statement. Reports, however, say the leader of the Niger junta had agreed to explore diplomatic dialogue. Still in Africa, the Kenyan government has reinstated a small subsidy in a bid to stabilize retail fuel prices for the next 30 days, following violent protests that rage for months. According to reports, the country's Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, made this known on Monday. It further said that the move was a reversal of government policy that has sparked national outrage over the high cost of living. President William Ruto, after assuming office last September, removed fuel and maize flour subsidies that were put in place by his predecessor, saying he preferred subsidizing production rather than consumption. Meanwhile, Kenya's data regulator has asked the High Court to protect data collected in the East African nation by WorldCoin. It wants the court to issue an order directing the cryptocurrency project to preserve data collected from Kenyans between 19th April and 8th August. The Office of the Data Protection Commissioner aims to stop the information being tampered with before an investigation into WorldCoin's activities in Kenya have been completed. Meanwhile, earlier this month, the government ordered WorldCoin, recently launched by US AI entrepreneur Sam Altman, to stop signing up new users pending a probe. Now in South Africa, the man who murdered South Africa's former First Lady Marike de Klerk is set to be released on parole at the end of August. Luyanda Mbonizwe, who was 21 years old when he committed the crime, worked as a security guard at the former First Lady's apartment block. De Klerk, who was 64 years old, was stabbed and strangled in her Cape Town home in December 2001. Mbonizwe also stole a mobile phone, gold watch and money, then was arrested 2 days after the crime. He was sentenced to life imprisonment for murder and another life term for robbery, with aggravating circumstances in May 2003. Marike de Klerk was South Africa's First Lady between 1989 and 1994. Her husband, Frederick William de Klerk, was the country's last president under apartheid rule. The marriage ended in 1996. Elsewhere, rights group Amnesty International is calling on Tanzania to release 3 people arrested for criticizing a deal that the government made with the United Arab Emirates to run all of the African nation's ports. Wilibra Slaa, a former ambassador and opposition leader, the opposition activist Ndude Nyagali, and lawyer Boniface Mwabukusi were arrested over the weekend. Mwabukusi had led a court petition arguing that the deal undermined the constitution, national sovereignty and security. Mwabukusi and Nyagali were arrested after holding a news conference in Dar es Salaam, criticizing the port agreement. Meanwhile, all three men have been denied bail and were told they would be charged with treason. In Africa, Zambia's anti-money laundering and drug trafficking body has seized close to $6 million in cash at the main airport in the capital, Lusaka. Also seized were 5 pistols, 7 magazines, 126 rounds of ammunition, 602 pieces of suspected gold weighing 127 kilograms and equipment used for measuring gold. According to the body's Director General, Nassan Banda, the Drug Enforcement Commission, DEC, received a tip-off that a chartered aircraft carrying dangerous goods had landed at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport on Sunday evening. In a press statement, the Commission said it has since seized the Global Express T7WW on which the above items were found and another aircraft belonging to a local airline whose make is King Air B190. The 10 suspects, including a Zambian, have been reportedly detained, awaiting further investigations. In the meantime, the Ugandan agency in charge of issuing national identity cards have cancelled more than 7,680 fraudulent applications by foreigners posing as Ugandans. It comes a week after Uganda's Citizenship and Immigration Control Agency, DCIC, announced that it had confiscated 10,000 IDs that had been fraudulently acquired by foreigners. The spokesperson for Uganda's Internal Affairs Ministry, Simon Mundei, last week said that there had been a rise in foreigners mainly from Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, South Sudan, Eritrea, Somalia, Ethiopia, and even India and China, deceitfully seeking ID cards for use in obtaining Ugandan passports. Elsewhere, Algeria has banned the popular Barbie film 3 weeks after its release in the mainly Muslim North African nation. The Culture Ministry has asked cinemas to withdraw the Hollywood blockbuster immediately. According to reports, the movie promoted homosexuality and did not comply with Algeria's religious and cultural beliefs. Cinemas in the cities of Algiers, Oran, and Constantine have been packed. On the foreign scene, former U.S. President Donald Trump has been charged with attempting to overturn his 2020 election defeat in the state of Georgia. Trump, who is the leading Republican candidate for president in 2024, was indicted along with 18 other allies, including former Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, and the former White House lawyer John Eastman. Reports say the former president and his co-conspirators are accused of violating Georgia's Racketeering Act, solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer, conspiracy to impersonate a public officer, conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, as well as false statements and documents. Still on the foreign scene, Afghanistan's Taliban government marked today the second anniversary of their takeover of the country with celebrations and a public holiday, issuing a defiant statement commemorating their surge back to power. Flags of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, the name given to the country by its new rulers, fluttered at security checkpoints across the capital, which fell on August 15, 2021. When the US-backed government collapsed and its leaders fled into exile. In the 2 years since, Taliban authorities have imposed their strict interpretation of Islam, with women bearing the brunt of laws the United Nations has termed gender apartheid. A statement from the authorities early today hailed a victory that was able to pave the way for the establishment of the Islamic system in Afghanistan. And while Russia has reportedly hiked interest rates to 12% after the ruble fell to its lowest value in 16 months, the currency fell past 100 per dollar on Monday, prompting Russia's central bank to hold an emergency meeting. The Bank of Russia said it decided to raise interest rates from 8.5% to curb inflation, which hit 4.4% in August, Reports say pressure has been mounting on the Russian economy due to imports rising faster than exports and military spending growing throughout the war in Ukraine. In the meantime, 3 suspected spies for Russia in the UK have been arrested and charged in a major national security investigation. Reports say the defendants, all Bulgarian nationals, were held in February and have been remanded in custody since. It is alleged they were working for the Russian security services. They are charged with possessing identity documents with improper intention and are alleged to have had these knowing they were fake. The documents include passport, identity cards and other documents for the UK, Bulgaria, France, Italy, Spain, Croatia, Slovenia, Greece and the Czech Republic. The 3 defendants were arrested under the Official Secrets Act by counter-terrorism detectives from the Metropolitan Police, which has national policing responsibility for espionage. They include Alvin Rusev, aged 45, of Great Yarmouth, Norfolk; Biza Jambazov, aged 41, of Harrow, northwest London; Katrin Ivanova, aged 31, of the same Harrow address. And the trio have lived in the UK for years, working in a variety of jobs and living in a series of suburban properties. And now it's time for the latest business and stock market stories. Here is Blessing Dixon.
Thank you, Xavier Roberts. Good evening. It's business news. My name is Blessed Dixon. In the news, WTI crude futures fell 2% to below $81 per barrel today, extending a 0.8% loss in the previous session as weak China data offset tightening supply. Retail sales, industrial production, and fixed asset investment in China all came in below expectations, while the urban unemployment rate ticked higher, weighing on a demand outlook in the world's top crude importer. Meanwhile, China's central bank lowered a key lending rate on Tuesday to support the economy, the second reduction this year. The U.S. oil benchmark was propelled to 9-month high of $85 last week as OPEC majors Saudi Arabia and Russia curtailed supply. The International Energy Agency said their supply cuts are expected to erode oil inventories in the rest of the year, while adding that global crude demand could surge to a record 103 million barrels a day. Annual inflation rate in Nigeria has accelerated for a 6-month to 24.08% in July 2023, the highest since September of 2005, compared to a forecast of 23.7%. The biggest upward contribution came from the cost of food and non-alcoholic beverages in June, namely oil and fat, bread and cereals, fish, potatoes, yam and other tubers, fruits, meat, vegetable, milk, cheese, and eggs. Compared to the previous month, the Consumer Price Index soared 2.9% after a prior 2.1% hike in June. Additionally, the core inflation, which excludes volatile items, rose slightly to 20.5% in July on a year-on-year from 20.3% recorded in June. Still in Nigeria, truck drivers are to pay a mandatory 50 naira stamp duty on every 1,000 naira issued to them by the Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA) through the Trucks Transit Tax (TTP). The management of the TTP stated this in a notice dated 14th August 2023, adding that the new charge will take effect from September. It also said that the NPA had directed them to commence the implementation of the directive on the denotation of all issued receipts of 1,000 naira and above in value with 50 naira. According to the TTP, the directive is a policy of the Federal Ministry of Finance issued 2 years ago to all heads of ministries, departments, and agencies. It's time for the Nigerian stock market report. At the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the benchmark all-share index shared 281.51 basis points to close at 64,928.98 points. Compared with the previous trading day, today's data shows an 8% improvement in volume, 10% improvement in turnover, and 7% improvement in deals. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 35.3 trillion naira. In the aggregate, 116 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 19 gainers and 31 losers. Tantalizers lured the gainers with a 10% share appreciation, closing at 44 kobo per share. On the losing side, Etherna came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 9.86% at 16 naira per share. Transcorp Nigeria recorded the highest volume of 36.5 million traded shares. This is all on Business News, and back to Xavier Robert for the rest of the news.
Many thanks, Blessing. Still to come in the news. NFF President confirms talks with Pesero over new contract. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now to health news, where Nigeria has performed its first ever minimally invasive open heart surgeries on 4 patients in a private hospital in Lagos. Reports say the operations were coronary artery bypass grafting, CABG, off pump, and mitral valve replacement carried out without big cuts on the chests, while the hearts were beating. A renowned cardiologist and professor of medicine, Kamar Deleke, made this known to journalists in Lagos, revealing that one of the patients was an 81-year-old woman who needed a valve replacement. He disclosed that the surgeries were carried out in Lekki, noting that the feat put Nigeria on the world map and on the list of the few countries in the developing world with the capacity to perform such surgical procedures. Still in health, the World Health Organization data published in 2020 indicated that lung cancer deaths in Nigeria reached 1.295 or 0.09%, while the age-adjusted death rate put at 1.37% of 100,000 of the population ranks Nigeria at number 178 in the world. Lung cancer, according to oncologists, is one of the major health concerns in Nigeria. They warned people against daily exposure to carcinogenic and radioactive substances, noting that they are risk factors for the killer disease, which often spreads without symptoms. They noted that besides active smokers, people working in certain professions may develop lung cancer due to their regular exposure to the predisposing factors. We head over now to Isaac for latest sports stories. We'll track it for you at this time.
Well, thank you very much, Xavier Robert. In sports, President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusau, has revealed the body is currently negotiating a new contract for Super Eagles coach Jose Peseiro. Pesero's previous one-year contract expired in July. The NFF has reportedly proposed a pay cut for the Portuguese to keep his job. Gusau hinted that the football house hopes to reach a conclusion on the Gaffer's future soon. Peseiro was appointed Super Eagles coach in May 2022. The Super Eagles are scheduled to take on Sao Tome and Principe in a 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier next month. Well, in the European scene, Arsenal have signed Brentford goalkeeper David Raya on a season-long loan today. Raya's move to the Emirates Stadium puts the Spain international in an intriguing contest with England's Aaron Ramsdale to start in goal for the Gunners. The 27-year-old played in all 38 Premier League games for Brentford last season, earning widespread praises for his performance. He had been linked with a £30 million switch to Arsenal prior to his loan deal, which is reported to have cost the North London club £3 million. Arsenal have the option to making the Raya signing into a permanent transfer for a reported fee of £27 million at the end of the season. While still from the European scene, Kevin De Bruyne could miss the next 4 months of the season as Manchester City decide whether he needs surgery on hamstring injury. Manager Pep Guardiola says the 32-year-old limped off after 23 minutes in City's opening win against Burnley at the Turf on Friday. De Bruyne also went off injured during the Champions League final win over Inter Milan in June. The Belgian midfielder missed all City's preseason matches and returned as a second-half substitute in the competition defeat by Arsenal. De Bruyne scored 10 goals and provided 31 assists for City as they claimed the Champions League, the Premier League and the FA Cup last season. Well, that's it on sports. My name is Isaac. Back to you, Xavier.
Thanks, Isaac. And now on entertainment news, Nigerian musician David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, is set to perform at the 50th Professional Footballers Association PFA Award. The event is scheduled to take place at the Lowry Theatre, Manchester, Tuesday, August 29. The PFA is the Union for Professional Association Footballers in England and Wales, with over 5,000 members across the divisional leagues. The award ceremony, voted for by players, is held annually to recognize and celebrate outstanding footballers in the league. Still on entertainment, evicted Big Brother Niger All-Stars housemate Uriel Oputa has revealed that she feels robbed to have been evicted from the house on Sunday despite not being the least voted housemate. It will be recalled that Uriel was evicted after 2 of the eviction jurors voted for her eviction during the live show on Sunday. The jurors, comprising Lee Khan, a former BB Niger winner, Teddy A and Diane, were tasked with voting for the eviction of one of the 2 least popular housemates by fans' votes. Lee Khan and Diane voted for Uriel, while Teddy A voted for Sheyi. Consequently, Uriel was evicted despite having more fans' votes than she. She also expressed regret over voting for Lee Khan during the Big Brother Niger lockdown season in 2020. Still on entertainment, hip-hop megastar Lamide recently released his 10th album titled Unruly, which has now achieved an impressive feat on Spotify Nigeria. In another impressive, Olamide's 10th album Unruly has achieved the 3rd biggest opening day streams on Spotify Nigeria after it tallied 1.81 million streams in its first day of release. The album trails just Davido's Timeless, which holds the record for highest opening day streams on Spotify Nigeria, and Ashake's Work of Art. This also makes Olamide the rapper with the highest opening day streams in Nigeria, as he continues to assert himself on the scene. Released August 9, 2023, the highly anticipated album has been met with excitement from listeners who were eager to enjoy what Olamide claimed might be his last album. And lastly, on entertainment tonight, Nigerian singer and rapper Habib Olalomi, also known as Portable, has revealed that he will not hesitate to use his money to buy awards. While appearing on the Honest Bunch podcast, Portable shares that if he fails to win an award based on merit, he would not hesitate to buy them. It will be recalled that in 2022, Portable earned 2 Headies nominations for Rookie of the Year and Best Street Hop for his single Zazuze. Reports say he was subsequently disqualified from the awards for contravening the Headies Code of Conduct after he threatened fellow nominees and also physically assaulted DJ Chicken. While facing questions about awards, Portable stated that if he fails to be given awards, he will not hesitate to buy them. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You've been watching Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert. Do have a good night rest. Bye-bye.